You're about to watch a video that will either be the best thing that ever happened to you or the worst. I'm not saying that to sound dramatic. I'm saying it because it's literally true. And by the end of the next few minutes, you'll understand exactly what I mean. Let me ask you something first. Have you ever met someone who just sees things differently? Someone who stays calm when everyone else is losing their mind? Someone who makes decisions with a kind of quiet confidence that makes you wonder, what does that person know that I don't? That kind of person isn't just smart, they think differently, at a structural level. The wiring underneath their decisions is different from the average person's wiring. And that's not a gift they were born with. It's a set of thinking patterns, patterns that can be learned, practiced and built into who you are. That's what this video is about. Specifically, Machiavelli's wisdom. The real stuff, not the watered-down version. The thinking that has shaped some of the most powerful people in history. But here's where I have to be straight with you before we go any further. These ideas are not neutral. The same thinking that makes one person precise, calm, and genuinely powerful makes another person cold, calculating, and ultimately alone. I've seen it happen. And the scary part? The people who go down the wrong path never see it coming. They think they're getting sharper. They don't realize they're slowly becoming someone they wouldn't recognize. So this video has two purposes: teach you the thinking and warn you about what it costs if you lose control of it. The difference between the two outcomes isn't intelligence. It was never intelligence. It's one word: control. The ability to hold a sharp, powerful, even dangerous idea in your mind and still choose what to do with it. That's the thing that separates the genius from the monster. Before we move forward, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my mind. My mind does not control me. Now let's get into it. Most people think intelligence is about how much you know. It isn't. It's about how you think. The process underneath the decision, the system behind the response. And there are 5 specific thinking patterns that elite minds use. Patterns that most people never develop because nobody teaches them directly. Number 1, the inversion mind. Everyone talks about chasing success. Work harder, dream bigger, stay consistent, and there's truth in all of that. But here's what those conversations miss. Most people fail, not because they didn't try hard enough, but because they never identified what was going to destroy them in the first place. Inversion thinking flips the question. Instead of asking, how do I succeed? You ask, what causes failure here, and how do I eliminate it? Charlie Munger built his entire investing philosophy around this. He said, tell me where I'm going to die, so I never go there. Think about it in your own life. Instead of asking how to build a stronger relationship, ask what consistently kills relationships: dishonesty, contempt, taking someone for granted, and stop doing those things. Instead of asking how to build a business, ask what kills businesses at every stage: poor cash flow, hiring wrong, ignoring the customer, and remove those threats before they hit you. This isn't pessimism, it's precision. You're not focusing on what can go wrong because you're scared. You're focusing on it because you're serious. Winners don't just chase outcomes, they remove what destroys them. That's the first shift. Number 2, learning how to learn. 2 people read the same book. One walks away with a list of facts. The other walks away with a new way of seeing the world. Same book. Completely different outcomes. The difference isn't natural talent. It's that the second person studies how they absorb information, not just what the information says. This is metacognition, thinking about your thinking. and almost nobody practices it deliberately. When do you actually retain information best? Early morning or late night? Do you learn faster by reading, by watching, or by doing? Do you need to teach something to really lock it in? What's the gap between what you understand in the moment and what you can actually apply 3 weeks later? Most people never ask these questions. They just consume more content, more books, more videos, and wonder why nothing seems to stick or change their actual behavior. The bottleneck isn't the information, it's how you're processing it. Start studying yourself as a learner. Map your patterns, figure out your optimal conditions. Because once you understand how your brain actually absorbs and retains things, you stop competing on volume and start competing on depth. Same information, different brain, different result. Number 3, destroying your own beliefs. Here's a test. Think of something you believe strongly right now. Doesn't matter what it is, personal, about yourself, about how the world works. Now ask yourself this: what is the strongest possible argument against that belief? Not the weakest argument, not the straw man version, the best, most uncomfortable, most logically solid case for why you might be wrong. Can you do it? If you can't, that's a problem. Not because you're stupid, but because it means you've been holding a belief without actually understanding it. You've been defending a position without ever stress testing it. And a belief that has never been tested is not a conviction. It's just a habit you've gotten comfortable with. Socratic thinking, the practice of attacking your own ideas before anyone else does, is one of the rarest skills a person can develop. It's uncomfortable. It makes you feel unstable at first because things you thought were solid start to wobble. But on the other side of that discomfort is something more valuable than being right. It's actually knowing what's true. Weak minds defend opinions. Strong minds attack their own thinking. The ones who do this consistently don't just believe things, they understand what they believe and why. And that's a completely different kind of confidence, not louder, deeper. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Most people's beliefs are built on appearance, on what sounds right, on what their circle agrees with, on what makes them feel good about themselves. Real thinking goes underneath that. It asks what is actually true, even when the answer is inconvenient. Number 4, facing the worst first. The Stoics had a practice that sounds dark until you understand what it actually does. Before any major decision or challenge, they would deliberately sit with the worst realistic outcome, not to spiral, not to catastrophize, but to prepare. What's the actual worst case here? What do I lose? How does it feel? What do I do when that happens? Here's what that practice builds over time. 2 things. First, setbacks stop being surprises, because you've already sat with them mentally. When something goes sideways, you don't freeze. You move because you've rehearsed this moment. Second, you become emotionally stable in a way that people around you will notice and not fully understand. Small problems lose their grip on you because you've already mentally survived something much bigger. Most people do the opposite. They run the perfect scenario in their head on repeat. They imagine the win, the applause, the way things look when everything goes right. And then when reality shows up, and reality is always messier than the fantasy, they collapse. Not because they're weak, but because they were completely unprepared. Prepare for failure, then go build the best possible outcome. That sequence, in that order, is what keeps you calm, clear, and functional when the pressure hits. Number 5, identity over discipline. Discipline breaks under enough stress, enough tiredness, enough bad days in a row. The willpower runs out. You know this from your own life. You've felt it. Identity doesn't break the same way. There's a guy who forces himself to work out every morning through pure discipline. He fights the alarm. He fights the resistance. Some days he wins, some days he doesn't. Then there's a guy who just is an athlete. He doesn't fight the resistance the same way, because not working out would feel wrong to him at a fundamental level. It would violate who he is. Same behavior. But one is powered by willpower and one is powered by identity. And they are not equally reliable. The shift is this: stop trying to force behaviors and start building the identity of the person who does those behaviors naturally. Every time you sit down and read when you don't feel like it, you're casting a vote for the identity of someone who reads. Every time you stay calm under pressure, you're building the identity of someone known for composure. The behavior first. The identity solidifies behind it. Machiavelli once said, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." The title doesn't make you the person. You become the person, and then you carry the title accordingly. Identity before achievement. Become it first. The results follow. You don't force actions. You become the type of person who does them. That's the last, and maybe the most powerful shift in this section. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am who I build. At this point, you have 5 thinking tools that most people never develop. Inversion thinking, metacognition, Socratic self-examination, negative visualization, identity building. If you actually apply even 2 of these consistently, your life will look different in 6 months. That's not exaggeration. But here's where things get dangerous. Because these patterns don't just sharpen you, they change you. And if you're not watching carefully, that change moves in a direction you didn't choose. This next chapter is what nobody in the self-improvement space wants to talk about, and it's the most important thing I'm going to tell you today. This section is uncomfortable. I'm not going to dress it up. And if you're the kind of person who takes thinking seriously, who actually tries to grow, then what I'm about to describe is going to feel personally familiar. Because this is what happens to sharp minds that go unchecked. Number 1, the impatience that grows inside you. It starts quiet, almost invisible. You start noticing things in conversations you never noticed before. The logical gaps, the assumptions people make without realizing it, the way people reach conclusions without any real thinking behind them. And at first you try to engage. You offer a different angle, you ask a better question, you try to bridge the gap. But it doesn't always land. People get defensive, or they look at you like you're speaking a different language, or they agree in the moment and then think the exact same way 5 minutes later. And slowly, without making a conscious decision about it, you stop trying. You stop explaining. You stop bridging. You just move past people, not with anger, with dismissal. This feels like clarity, like you're just being efficient, not wasting energy on conversations that go nowhere. It isn't clarity. It's the first crack in your connection to the world around you. Real power, real influence requires patience. The ability to bring people along, not just move ahead of them. A leader who walks too far ahead isn't leading. He's just walking alone. Number 2, forgetting what confusion felt like. When you genuinely put in the work, when you develop real thinking skills and see results, you forget what it felt like before you had those tools. You forget the confusion, the frustration of not being able to see what now feels obvious, the time it took. And once you forget that, you start expecting others to just get it. You start feeling something colder than impatience when people make the mistakes you used to make, when they fall for the same traps you learned to avoid. And that coldness, that quiet contempt, is one of the most dangerous things that can happen to a sharp mind. Because contempt shuts down empathy, and without empathy, you lose the ability to actually understand people. You can analyze them, you can observe their behavior patterns, but you stop understanding them. And a mind that can't understand people, truly understand, not just observe, is a mind that will keep making critical blind spots in every major decision it makes. You didn't become smarter, you became disconnected. Those are not the same thing. Number 3, the isolation you don't notice. Nobody announces this one. It just happens. You start thinking differently, which means you start relating differently. The gap between how you see the world and how most people around you see it gets wider, slowly at first, then faster. Conversations that used to engage you start feeling shallow. Small talk starts feeling like static, and you pull back, not dramatically, but quietly. You're in the room, but you're not really there. And you tell yourself it's okay. You frame it as focus, as standards, as not wasting time on low-quality interactions. But there's a version of that story where it isn't discipline. It's loneliness that learned how to justify itself. And the two look identical from the inside. The most powerful minds in history were deeply connected to people, not isolated from them. Lincoln had advisors who disagreed with him constantly, and he wanted them in the room. Da Vinci moved through social circles of every kind: artists, scientists, engineers, nobles, commoners. Churchill, at his worst moments of isolation, recognized it as a weakness, not a feature. Thinking differently doesn't mean connecting less. It means connecting more intentionally. The isolation isn't a sign of growth, it's a warning sign. Number 4, the feedback illusion, the most dangerous trap. This is the one that destroys people who thought they were past this kind of mistake. When you develop a sharp mind and start making good calls, when you build a track record of being right, something shifts in how people treat you. They stop correcting you. They stop pushing back. They let you run with ideas, even when those ideas have real holes in them. And your brain reads that as confirmation. The silence feels like agreement. The absence of challenge feels like proof that you're right. But here's what's actually happening. People stopped correcting you because you intimidate them. Because they assume you know more than they do. Because the last few times they pushed back, you had a response for everything. And eventually, they stopped trying. The silence isn't respect, it's avoidance. And it's the most dangerous environment a sharp mind can operate in, because it removes the one thing that keeps thinking honest: real resistance. A mind with no resistance gets soft, no matter how sharp it started. You need people who will tell you what you don't want to hear. And if the people around you have stopped doing that, either find people who will, or seriously examine what you've done to make honesty feel unsafe in your presence. The moment people stop challenging you is the moment you start declining. Not dramatically, quietly, and by the time you notice, the damage is already deep. This is how the monster is made. Not through a single dramatic choice, not through deciding to be cruel, through slow distance, impatience that grows, empathy that fades, isolation that deepens, feedback that disappears, and a mind that gets sharper in theory while getting more wrong in practice. The question now is, how do you stop it? How do you keep the power without losing what makes you worth knowing? That's what Chapter 3 is about. And this is the part people skip because it sounds soft. It's not. This is actually the hardest part. Let me be direct about something. Everything in this section sounds simple, and it is simple to understand, but it is genuinely difficult to do because it requires you to actively work against the ego that sharp thinking tends to build. That's the challenge, not the concepts. The consistent execution of them when your own mind is telling you that you're already fine. Number 1. Hunt for brutal feedback. Actively. Here's the reality. People will not give you honest feedback by default. Not when you've established yourself as someone who knows what they're doing. Not when you've made it subtly clear in the past that you have a response for every critique. They will soften the truth until it doesn't land. They will nod along. They will let things go. So you can't wait for honest feedback to show up. You have to go hunting for it. This means asking specific, uncomfortable questions and actually listening to the answers. Not "what do you think?" which gets you polished, safe responses. But what's the biggest mistake I'm making right now? Where am I wrong in how I'm approaching this? What would you change if this were your decision? And then, the hard part, when someone answers, you don't defend, you don't explain, you don't immediately frame their feedback as a misunderstanding. You sit with it. This also means actively finding people who will push back, not people who are contrarian for sport, people who are sharp enough to see your blind spots and honest enough to tell you about them. Those people are rare. When you find them, protect those relationships. Make honesty safe in your presence. Reward the hard truth, not the comfortable answer. Because if you only hear what you want to hear, even if what you want to hear is accurate most of the time, you are flying with faulty instruments. And eventually, you'll make a decision that the honest feedback would have caught. Machiavelli once said, "A prince who is not himself wise cannot be well advised." Not just advised, well advised. There's a massive gap between the two. Anyone can find people who will agree with them. The rare skill is building an environment where the truth actually reaches you, and you're wise enough to use it. Number 2. Stay anchored in reality. A sharp mind that lives mostly in its own head starts to trust its models more than the real world. You build mental frameworks for how things work, and the frameworks are good, really good, but they're still models. Simplified versions of a complicated reality. And the moment you start treating the model as more reliable than the actual evidence in front of you, you've crossed from smart to arrogant. Reality is the only real test. Not how logical something sounds, not how well you can defend it in an argument. What actually happens when you put it in contact with the real world, that's the test. And there's no substitute for it. Stay in the game, build things, test things, make decisions, watch what happens, adjust. Don't spend so much time thinking about action that you stop actually taking it. Because theory without action is just a very sophisticated way of avoiding feedback. The sharpest thinkers I've ever studied, the ones who built things that lasted, they all had one thing in common. They loved being wrong in small ways, fast, so they could be right in big ways later. They didn't protect their ideas, they tested them. There's a kind of intellectual courage in that, putting your thinking in contact with the real world and letting reality have the final word. Stay grounded. Stay in the game. Let reality teach you what your own mind can't. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I stay grounded always. Number 3. Build your personal code before power tests it. This is non-negotiable, and the timing matters more than most people realize. Power doesn't reveal character, it amplifies it. Whatever you are before you have influence, leverage, resources, or skill, power takes that and makes it bigger. If you haven't clearly defined your values before you gain power, The power will simply amplify the worst parts of you. The impatience, the coldness, the willingness to use people as instruments. It won't do this dramatically. It will do it gradually, through a series of small compromises that each seem reasonable in the moment. A personal code is a set of rules you establish in a calm moment, before the pressure is on, before the temptation is real. What lines won't you cross, even if crossing them would win? What will you sacrifice rather than compromise? How do you treat people who can't do anything for you? How do you behave when no one is watching? These aren't abstract moral questions. They're practical decisions that determine who you are when things get hard. And if you haven't made those decisions deliberately, in advance, then you'll make them reactively, under pressure, with your ego involved. And those decisions are almost always worse. Without a code, intelligence becomes a weapon you can't control. With a code, it becomes something you can actually trust. The strongest version of yourself is not the most capable version. It's the most capable version that still knows what it stands for. Number 4, see clearly. Choose not to exploit. This is the line, right here. This is what separates every outcome we've talked about today. When you develop real understanding of people, how they think, what drives their decisions, what their fears and wants actually are underneath what they say, you gain something genuinely powerful. You can connect more deeply. You can lead more effectively. You can understand what someone needs, even when they can't articulate it themselves. Or you can use that same understanding to manipulate, to push the buttons you've learned how to find, to get what you want from someone while giving them the feeling that it was their own idea. Both are options. The understanding doesn't make the choice for you. Here's what the manipulation path actually looks like long-term. It works in the short run and destroys everything in the long run. Because manipulation requires maintaining a gap between what's real and what you've sold someone. That gap takes constant energy to manage, and people, over time, feel it, even when they can't name it. Trust erodes, relationships hollow out, and you end up alone, technically capable, with no one around you who knows who you actually are. Real power doesn't need manipulation. Real power builds environments where people want to do what serves everyone. Real power understands people well enough to lead them without deceiving them. That is harder. It takes longer. But it's the only kind of power that actually compounds over time. Machiavelli once said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. See it all, understand it all, and then use that understanding to build, not to break." The fox recognizes the trap and avoids it. That's power. Power isn't in manipulation, it's in restraint. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My power is my restraint. Let me bring everything back to the beginning. Two people, same video, same ideas, same knowledge sitting in front of them. One of them takes inversion thinking and uses it to build something real, removing the threats before they hit, moving with clarity. He uses Socratic thinking to challenge himself instead of other people. He uses negative visualization to stay calm under pressure because he's already mentally survived the worst. He builds his identity around who he's becoming. He hunts for feedback. He stays grounded. He defines his code. He sees people clearly and chooses to lead them honestly. He becomes powerful, and he stays human while he does it. The other one takes the same ideas and uses them to justify the distance he was already putting between himself and the world. He gets sharper, faster, more precise, and colder. He stops explaining himself. He stops seeking feedback because he's stopped believing he needs it. He sees through people and starts using what he sees. He wins some things, he loses people. And one day he's sitting in a room that his own intelligence built, and there's no one in it. Same knowledge, two different choices. And the choice isn't made in one moment. It's made in 100 small moments, across months and years that add up to who you are. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Thinking better will make you powerful, but without control, it will make you alone. Not because the world can't handle a sharp mind, but because a sharp mind without a personal code, without empathy, without feedback, without real human connection, will eventually turn on itself. It will become the very trap it was designed to see through. The most dangerous mind isn't the smartest one. It's the one that stopped being human. That line isn't a dramatic ending. It's a real warning. Because the people who go down that path, the ones who become something colder than what they started as, they don't realize it's happening until long after it already has. They think they're getting sharper. What they're actually getting is smaller, more capable, and smaller. A more efficient version of a less complete person. Don't let that be you. You watched this whole video. That already tells me something about you. You're the kind of person who takes ideas seriously, who wants more than the surface-level version of things. That's good. That's what gets you somewhere real. Now, use it right. Before you go, if this video made you think, if even one idea shifted something in how you see yourself or the world around you, hit the like button and share it with someone you think is ready. Not everyone is, but you know someone who is. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Not because of what's already here, but because of where this channel is going. These are the conversations most places won't have. We're going to keep having them. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I grow. I stay human. Because that's the whole game. Grow. Stay sharp. Stay grounded. Stay connected to what makes you worth becoming in the first place. The question was simple. After this video, are you becoming a genius or something far more dangerous? The answer is yours to make. Make it carefully.